Here on the Psych train, we are at the commode here at the Psych train. Um, wow, I mean, it really dates this. I didn't, when I saw this compartment, let me give perspective here. When I saw this compartment here, I'm thinking like, well, it's like a closet or storage or something. And I looked in, I saw like broken kind of things and stuff. But it's like looking around, I noticed like the soap dispenser. Can you make that out? And then I don't know if there's enough light here. Um, Yeah, there's not a light, but there's a commode there. There's a john there. There's a toilet there. So it's like, wow. So, in one way, I'm impressed that, wow, this is a train from how many years ago that, they had a commode, on the train here. Um, uh, you know, um, One and two, it's like it dates the kind of train that I'm on because today's train, I don't think they have them like on the commuter rail here out of Boston and around Boston and stuff. But anyways, it brings me to a topic that I, as a homeless man, want to address, and that's the question of public access or uh, uh, public access to like public toilets or public amenities, if you will, in the community in the past 3 or 4 years. Um, First of all, what I noticed first, as far as I was concerned, was the Wi-Fi. It was like, and I noticed this like 2 or 3 years ago. I think I was in Austin, and I noticed one day when I went through, to try to find a Wi-Fi connection because as I tried to hug the walls of the Starbucks, the nearest Starbucks, I couldn't get a Wi-Fi connection because all the Wi-Fi from Starbucks kept saying, it's like, we're glad to have your business. We open at such and such an hour. Please come by and, have all the Wi-Fi you want, homeless man. I think it was in Austin though, and I don't know the year or the month, but I noticed there was a public Wi-Fi. There was like a city-wide public Wi-Fi that anywhere in the city, all you needed was like I don't know, like a tablet, a phone, whatever, and you can like dial up and punch in. Maybe they requested an email or whatever, but you can dial up like a public Wi-Fi. So and there you were, and it was great. It was in Austin. I remember first noticing it, and then here in Boston last year, I noticed, I couldn't get like public Wi-Fi hugging the walls of the main library here downtown. So, but I did notice that they had a at Boston Wi-Fi that if you punched in your, an email address, they will give you public Wi-Fi that was, like great and wonderful and stuff. So I did that and I got that. And I was like, hey, just like in Austin. But just like in Austin, I lost it. It went away. They pulled it. I don't know when they pulled it. I'm not, like on this day to day. I have other concerns as a homeless person. But they pulled it sometime. And it's like, I have not seen at Boston Wi-Fi here in Boston for, weeks now. Anyways. And it was similar to Austin, because Austin did the same thing. They said, they had public Wi-Fi, and, and other cities had it. I remember Austin, I think Atlanta had a public Wi-Fi and stuff. And I thought, wow, this is great. What a great idea. These major cities with tourism and stuff are like offering like public Wi-Fi to the people. How wonderful, that they don't have to, wait to go to the library or hug a Starbucks or hug a main library to try to get the morning news or something like that. Anyway, so in every city I was in, of course, they pulled it eventually. That it was like, oh, hey, I got used to that Wi-Fi and now it's gone and stuff. So, but that's the way it's been here in the country for the last 4 years that I've been out here. Like the Wi-Fi. You get offerings, like public offerings that like, oh, this is nice. I have no problems. I'm used to this, that, or the other. And the city will eventually pull it. Now, I say that because it's like the bathrooms, of course, throughout the country are an entirely... Well, for a homeless man, I'd like to think it's like, well, it's an entirely different matter. This is not to be, wasted or abused and stuff. But sadly, the cities have done it. It's like, I don't know how many cities I've been in that, I've gone and I've used the restroom in some public restroom, and there's no soap. There's no soap. It's like, all right, I just took a dump here. It's like, I'm not the cleanest person in the world, but I just took a number 2, and like, God knows what's on my hand, but, it's like, I'm not expecting like, the greatest soap in the world, but some soap would be nice. But I don't know how many restrooms, public restrooms, I don't care, restaurants, libraries, whatever. They have not had public soap to wash your hands, okay? I'm not talking Howard Hughes obsessive and shit. I'm talking like, I just took a number 2, I took a dump, and I don't want to be like a 2-year-old and walk around with dirty hands and stuff. Let's see if I can get like that'd be. All right, so I don't know what the camera will pick up of this. I'm trying. This is new to me, but it's like. And then outside of the soap dispenser in the bathrooms here, I've noticed that the toilet dispensers, the toilet paper dispensers, I don't know if I can get a shot of this or not, but they're made for women. I mean, they are really made for women because the toilet dispensers are like, I mean, they're made for women to sit on the toilet and clean themselves. They're not meant for men to stand up after they've taken a number two and clean themselves. So, and if you can get the toilet paper out of the dispenser, by bowing enough and dragging enough paper out of it as like squat, before the door, pray the paper is good enough to wipe your butt with, because most of it seems to be disposable and seems to be like built for like, the old park service, that disintegrates on contact with any kind of water, be it, natural water or human man made, urine and stuff. So, I don't know. So, so you fight with the dispenser, and then you fight also with the paper itself. So you got a problem with the dispenser, and then you got a problem with the paper. And it's like, hey. And I'm not talking here like, oh, your 7-Eleven at night, or, the old 7-Eleven at night that, it's kids will play with and stuff, and you got to keep them out of and stuff, because, no, I'm talking like public libraries and such. And it's like, wow. It's sad, it's just life on the road, man. I shouldn't have left home today. I should have just stayed at home and, played video games, or spun my spinner, because this is not fun here outside in the real world.